appreciate Richard Fawcett with the New York Times, who asked me to look at some of the documents before they filed the story. And essentially, you didn't need the video to know that this was a wild posse that was chasing somebody through a neighborhood. Even in the initial police report that I reviewed, along with a letter from the now recused, one of the recused prosecutors, it was pretty clear to me that they were trying to cover up the actions of the McMichaels. They, according to their own statement, initially see a young black man running through a neighborhood, and that's what they saw. And they decided at that point that he looked like somebody that might have been involved in some burglaries or car break-ins, some other incidents in the past. They went inside, got a shotgun and a loaded .357 Magnum, jumped in the back of a pickup truck, and chased him down like an animal. And they're riding down the road, according to their statements, shouting at him, yelling at him to stop. They get down there. The son gets out of the vehicle with a loaded shotgun to confront him. At that point, you can see now from the video, Mr. Arbery tries to go around the truck, and a conflict ensues. And it's pretty clear that as Mr. Arbery tries to get the risk of the pointed shotgun away from him, that the other young man, that Mr. McMichael, took a shot at him. So it didn't take a great review of a tape to realize that this was a killing and a murder, and it should have been charged as such without all this. So
do you think that the state should have gotten involved earlier?
There's no question about it. I mean, I think this was a clear effort to cover up. I read through the now recused DA's letter where he talks about the right to have a gun and the right to do self-defense and the right to have a citizen's arrest. And he clearly misunderstands the law of Georgia and misapplied it. And the idea of self-defense, you don't get to create the emergency situation. You don't get to be the aggressor and then turn around and say, well, I had to defend myself. I mean, especially when you're the one with the loaded shotgun.
Do you think it's possible that the grand jury would not happen and that there could be an arrest warrant granted from a judge before a grand jury could be convened?
I would hope so. These are felony charges if, in fact, they move forward with a murder charge, which they should. And at that point, then, they could take an arrest warrant. But ultimately, the defendants have a right to have the case presented to a grand jury. The problem with Georgia grand juries is they're not investigating grand juries. They don't have that power. And so you basically are limited to the evidence presented by the DA, and that's why it's a good move, and I have every confidence in Vic Reynolds, the head of the GBI, that he's going to assign good people to go down there and look at this. My guess is that, it ought to take about 30 seconds to look at the videotape, to read through that letter and realize it was a cover-up for people who had been, remember that senior Mr. McMichael had been involved in law enforcement, and they're trying to cover that up, I think, to protect him and his son. Pretty clear case to me of
all right. Charge. We appreciate your looking through it, your expertise in coming on the show. Thank you, Michael Moore, down in Georgia. We were hoping to have Chris Carr, the Attorney General of Georgia, on the show today. That wasn't able to happen, but we hope to have him tomorrow on the Daily Briefing. So tune in then as well. Thank you.